What is up, man? How are you doing? Welcome back, everybody in the chat. Hey, good to see you guys again. What you been up to, Grant?
What's going on, man? It is summertime already. I got a little tan going on, sunburn, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, same here. Got a little color in the skin.
Got a little farmer's tan going on a little bit.
Yeah, same here. I was actually in embarrassing fashion. So I was doing a little construction work with my father-in-law, Rich, yesterday. And, it was like mid-afternoon, really sunny, really sweltering and really humid and everything. And I was like, man, like I want to kind of, color out a little bit. So I went out there and just embarrassment be damned. I went shirtless and went and worked and did all that stuff out in the sun. It felt good. I know I probably embarrassed the hell out of him, but whatever.
What's up, Saltwater 247?
What's up, man? Pickles, how are you doing, sir?
Is that Pickles?
Yeah, he is one of our newest mods in the server. Congratulations and thank you for that, man. We appreciate having you on there. It is a pleasure being able to work with you.
So Back Creek Adventures.
What's up, man? I was just watching your video a little while ago. You need to keep doing what you're doing, man. That was fun.
Yeah, I have been staying busy on the farm trying to get some stuff planted. So far, I've got 50 pounds of red seed potatoes planted.
Envious of that.
Freaking about 80-foot rows of sweet corn, about 6 rows. About 20 straight necks yellow squash, 20 crooked neck squash, 20 zucchini squash, 3 rows of okra about 30 foot long. Staying busy trying to get it planted. What's up, Mark J? Good to see you. Ben?
Gentlemen?
Yeah, so far so good.
Happy hurricane season 2025. I think that's probably what we need to be doing our live stream about next week. And I think I'm going to do a hurricane vlog series like I always wanted to, and just it hadn't lined up and with a hurricane here yet. But I'm just going to go ahead and start filming one because there's so much. The hurricane is kind of the smallest part of the hurricane experience. Going and making sure that you have all of your beer ready for that endeavor, and of course all the stuff like getting the trees trimmed and all that. That's nice. See, this is something that speaks there. This is something we need to do. Hey, and you know what, guys? Hey, if anybody wants in on that, like if you want to be a part of a hurricane preparedness video vlog series or anything, get in touch with me. Like we could have some fun with that. We could have a couple of different people, do a vlog series. I'm happy to edit and like make sure that because I'm talking about putting it on my channel, what I'm doing, but you want to be a part of that, you want to contribute, submit some footage on what you're doing and add it into that. Of course, I'll put links and do all that fun stuff. So if that's something you're into, let's do it.
Nice. A little collab.
Hurricanes are fun, man. That's, bad things happen. We've seen that. Shannon's still saying prayers for her and her family from the hurricane issues they've had over the years. But that having been said, most of the time, a good portion of the time, you get some bad weather. You get a little rain, you get a little wind, but you mostly get a lot of people panicking for water, and your yard gets watered.
Knocks the dust down for a day or two.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when the mosquitoes come in. That's a part of the hurricane experience we need to talk about is the mosquitoes moving in afterwards. That's miserable.
Yeah, mosquitoes are no fun. I was watching a video earlier about ticks infesting deer. Like, I've been finding ticks here recently, working out in the garden. Come home, found one earlier on me.
You have issues with Lyme disease and all that stuff happening up there?
There are people that get it around here. Definitely that, and that, what is it, alpha-gal, where you can't eat anymore. no thanks. I don't want it.
Yeah, exactly right. Not something. Dude, the mosquitoes down here, they get absolutely brutal, especially like after a hurricane, like on the island. It is insane. I have some footage in a video that I did years ago where they're literally like, I mean, just swarms of them. You'll be in the car. Like in the video that I did, I was up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I went out. We were down on the island. I got up at 5, and I went out to go fishing. Drove out to the beach, and I mean, I just can't even describe the clouds of them out there around the lights and everything when I was on the road. And you park, and they just sit there and beat themselves to death against your windshield. Like it's they do not mess around.
Trying to get in to the light.
Yeah, they'll just take anything. And I mean, it's just absolutely prime conditions for them when there's no wind. The one saving grace that we have is the wind down here. They will hang out, and like it's weird. You can go to the beach, and if you've got like a 5 to 10 mile an hour breeze, then they'll hang out by the dunes, and it's miserable by the dunes. But you'll have that breeze coming off the water, and that kind of keeps them away from the water, which is a blessing. Right. But then you go back by the dunes, and you've got all that stagnant water. You've got all the wildlife and everything that lives back there, and it's got a little bit of salt to it. The temperature is just, I mean, it's just perfect for them. Hence why they're so bad in Florida. Same thing.
Yeah, black flies. I've actually been bit a few times out there on the farm. I've had a few welt me up.
That's another bad one. My dad's going to Louisiana actually in a couple of days here. He's going to go fish the chandeliers, and they've got those hordes of those black biting flies. And they wear pants, and they have to wear long sleeve shirts and gaiters and everything for when they're out there wading around fishing, and they'll bite through the pants. Like you'll have blood spots all over your pants.
Damn.
Not fun, man. That's probably the least fun part of fishing, I think, is like mosquitoes and black flies.
Yeah, being miserable because of bugs. Yeah, no fun. That definitely takes the fun out of it.
Yeah, for sure. So the topic of conversation for tonight, guys, and I'm glad you guys are all here. Thank you again for coming and hanging out with us, man. It's a pleasure being able to spend some time with you guys. Topic of conversation tonight. Sports Illustrated put out an article. Let me bring it up here so you can see what I'm talking about. And I would like your insight and your input on this stuff as well, guys, you in the chat, because honestly, I kind of trust your opinion more, Sorry, let me fix that. There we go. All right, so I don't go to Sports Illustrated for my fishing stuff. So when I saw Sports Illustrated write an article, it says how to become a better angler, 5 expert tips that work for any fish on any water. And I immediately had questions like, okay, Sports Illustrated, let's see what you've got. And so I want your opinions on this. I want to know, am I like being overly judgmental about this? Are they right? Or do we need to be going elsewhere for our fishing knowledge? And if you have any, if you have any of those tips, or if you, another one, since I like to get all negative and lambast different things, if you have any tips that you've been given that were like absolutely dead wrong, that is what we're going to be talking about tonight. That's what I want to hear, is the tips that you got that were like, that's absolutely gold advice, or the tips that you got that people need to absolutely not do.
I like it. Yeah, maybe even tips that you found out that were later illegal.
Yeah. Been across a few of those before. That's a funny one when somebody tells you, oh, you need to do this and this and this, and then it turns out, they just didn't know the rules or something.
Right.
All right. So, yeah, Ben, right off the bat, having never read it, it sounds very high level and generic. And the first thing we got on the list is ego check. Humility leads to more fish. And I think you nailed it right out of the gate on that one. I think that's high level and generic. If somebody tells me, and I'm not saying don't be humble, I think that is an important thing in life. I think that's you know, an ego check is important. That is not something that I'm telling somebody, you know, to be a better fisherman. Like Grant, if I told you to check your ego, it'll make you a better fisherman. If I ever told you that, dude, you have full permission to just like give me the finger.
I don't know. I think there are people that catch more fish than other people. So
yeah, true.
I don't know.
You know, I'll say, like, I'm not going to say that, you know, like, an ego check is good. Humility is good. I'm not knocking that. But as advice, as like the tip for how to become a better angler, an expert tip that work on any fish, any water, and you're telling me first enough, ego check. I know we've all got an ego. Like I've got one, and thankfully I've got a Rachel. She keeps me in check. She does a decent job of keeping me in check. She can't always do it, but she tries. And thank God for her doing that.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's the biggest hurdle to becoming a better angler.
Yeah, and I think luck has a lot of factor with fishing. I mean, especially freshwater, like the newest, most recent pond we went to, never been there. I caught some bluegill, a couple crappie. Janet caught a couple bluegill. You know, I don't think it was any I'm better than she is fishing that I caught more fish, because she could have easily caught more fish than me. I think I was luckier that day.
I have had so many fishing trips. Like I had one yesterday. I went fishing with my father-in-law, and I've had so many of these trips where one common thing that I do see, and I do this, but at least I'm aware of when I'm doing it. Like I'm simply at the stage where I'm aware that I'm doing it. I probably don't adjust fast enough, but I'm aware enough that I know I need to adjust. But I'll go on a fishing trip, and I'll be told, like, you have to do this and this and this. You know, I'll go out to the end of the jetty, and there'll be, you know, some guy sitting on a bucket, and he's got a bucket full of sheep's head, and he'll tell me, you need to, you know, you got to use braid, you have to use a certain hook, you have to hook the shrimp a certain way, and you have to have, like, you know, you have to use the Carolina rig, or you have to have like a leaded jig that you're using for the shrimp. And I'm the first one who, if I'm going fishing, the first thing I'm doing is I'm checking everybody else. I'm seeing what they're doing. I'm trying to see what works. I'm trying to get as much information as possible, so that the time that I spend out there is, you know, is efficient. I'm efficiently trying to figure out what's working. But you have to be able to adapt and adjust. And maybe this is what they're coming from with the humility check thing. Is like, if you go out there thinking you need to do this and this and this in order for it to work, like, that's not, like, sometimes you do have to adjust. Sometimes you have to move over from like the shiny lure into the dark colored lure. Maybe you need a different color. Maybe you need to go with cut bait, or, you know, a live bait, a different kind of live bait, something like that. I've seen that 1,000 times. So you do have to be able to adjust, but I don't see that as being an ego thing. Like, it doesn't matter if you're full of yourself in any one of these scenarios. If you are experimenting, I mean, as undesirable as a big ego may be, I don't see it making a difference if you're making the right moves. You know, that's my thought on that. I'm not trying to back anybody with an ego. You know, everybody got to check themselves, but that's just not fishing advice I'm giving. Black Creek Adventures, I don't agree with this. I feel like confidence in your methods and abilities are more important. You can do this while being open-minded too. Exactly. Like, that's. I mean, you said it better than I did.
Yeah.
And there are so many times Probably every time, even to this day, I'll go out and I'll have a good day. Like everything that I'm doing is working, and I am, I'm full of myself that day. Like I'm all about it. I know that I'm like God's gift to fishing that day, and I'm just like all over the place. And then the next time I go out, I'll have like perfect conditions. I'll have the perfect bait. Everything is exactly the way I want it, and I can't catch a fish to save my life. Like we all experience that. And as much of an ego as I might have, I'm also prepared for, those times. I know that I have those days just like everybody else does, and I'm never going to put my foot in my mouth, I do, but not that far. I'm not going to go so far as to say that I'm going to be like the perfect fisherman every single time I go.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it's luck, but you definitely need some confidence and some skill, to catch fish. There's people that fish our local lake and they absolutely think there's no fish in there because they never catch anything. Seriously.
I have heard that.
There's no fish in there.
The one that I go to on that one all the time is like down here, especially when I'm spearfishing. It blows people's minds. They think I'm lying to them. Whenever I'm spearfishing, I have like all the people on the jetty who are up there, and they'll ask me like, "What do you see down there? What's down there? What are you seeing?" And we'll have, especially like this time of year, we'll have these massive schools of snook, and we've talked about this before. They don't take a bait. Like you cannot get any snook. I've seen hundreds of schools of hundreds of snook. I've seen them consistently over the course of the summer. Every time I go down there, every time I'm spearfishing. And they hang out on the bottom, so you never see them. But it'll be massive schools. I mean, we're talking like some of them are upwards of like 40-inch snook. And people will ask me like, "What do you see down there?" Like trying to get some information out of me. Where can they cast to find the fish? And whatever information I can give, being able to see it firsthand like that. And I'll tell them, "Dude, there is a massive school of snook down there. So you're not going to catch them. I never see anybody catch them, but they are down there." And they never believe me. They're there, and Saltwater's saying, are you? So he's our snook guy, obviously. I think it's more skill than luck, especially if you're on a boat. You have the ability to move around to find fish. On land, you just have to cast around, hope something sees it. And I do the same thing. Like when we're at the beach, I don't do it enough. That's a mistake that I make. Is maybe I get a little bit. I think it's complacent and lazy. It's not so much an ego thing, but I'll pull up to a spot on the beach, and it's like I kind of camp there for the day. I don't want to move around a lot, but I know successful guys out at the beach, and I've been encouraged multiple times where it's like, if you don't catch anything in an hour and a half, you need to pack up and move on to a different spot of beach. I hate doing that, but I've seen people do it, and I've seen it work, and it's the same premise.
Oh, there's definitely skill involved. Don't get me wrong, but what I mean is if you and your buddy are both on the same boat, and both have pretty much the same skill level, but he catches all the fish, or the left side of the boat catches all the fish, or the right side of the boat catches all. That's what I'm talking about with the luck involved.
You're right about that.
There's times that I've been out in a boat and only the back of the boat, the person in the back is the only person catching the fish. The person in front's already thrown in all the spots, or maybe not, but I've been in the back of the boat and been that person to catch all the fish before.
We did that snapper twice now. We've done those the party boat runs with Ben Covarrubias out in Houston, and it's funny. Like I love fishing with those guys because Ben and all your crew out there, like they know what they're doing and they're fun to be with. But what's funny is there will be, Ben's got his group of whatever, a dozen people that are all out there, and he's got like the whole back end of the boat. It's glorious. It's a wonderful time. But what's funny is we always get reports from the people on like the left side of the boat that'll be saying something like exactly what you're saying. They're like, "Yeah, the left side of the boat, that's where it is. That's where the fish are. That's where they're getting them." And,
right.
And first and foremost, I want the back end. Like Ben's got it dialed in for sure. But second off, it's like, dude, the fish are 200 feet down. They don't even know there's a boat there. What difference does it make what side of the boat you're on?
Right.
And you're right about that. Yeah, Ben. So yes, that's one of the things that they're saying here. We might think we know a lot about fishing, but no one limits out on trophy fish every time out. It's teachability. Like, you don't want to be closed-minded, hamper yourself as a result of an unwillingness to try different techniques, lures, and new spots. They're not wrong about that. But yeah, I think there's a better way of phrasing it rather than an ego check and being humble. And I'm not saying you don't need to be that. You need to. Like, we all need a little humility. But that's not the lesson we learned here. Like, you need to be, I think that's a better lesson. Like what you're saying is you need to be able to adapt. You need to be able to learn what's going on and adjust accordingly. Like, that's, I think, a far more important lesson than checking your ego. That's exactly how the snook are here, except there's a few people that can catch them. You see in the photos when we get there. Yeah, we're going to see it. I got you on there, man, because obviously, like, you know, we've got some good snook we're going to be looking at here in a minute. And those are like exactly like those are the one. I don't know what the deal is with the snook here. Like, I have literally, you know, I'll see the school down there and I will for days try every lure under the sun. I'll try, you know, live perch, cut bait, a live mullet, live shrimp, free line, 10-pound. Like, I have tried so many different things and we've caught them, but it is so impossible. Like, I swear it's like because they're spawning or something they're not eating. I don't know what's going on, because you can drop a live shrimp just right in front of them and they just turn their nose up to it. They're just not eating. Oh, not Ben. For one, you got to use that underwater camera, dude. That thing was epic. And for two, I want to see a ton of photos, man. I am really sorry I'm not going with you guys this year. The whole, you know, being unemployed thing really sucks, and it's cutting into my ability to have fun. I promise I will be coming back strong just as soon as I can get myself back on my feet financially here. And until then, I'm going to be living vicariously through your photos and videos and everything that you can get. So please get as much as you can.
Yes, I so wish I could go, but one of these days.
One of these days. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing some pictures for sure.
Ben says, all that said, I learned long ago to not evil chuckle at people who hold their spinning reel upside down, because karma will make them catch more fish than me. I'm the same way. Like, I'll chuckle about that. I'll see people doing something goofy and I'll give it a little bit of a laugh. But I'll also be the first one to go and say something nice to that person, because, like you said, karma. I appreciate that, man. Please do. I really do enjoy getting to see that. All right, next up, their next lesson that they've got. Let's see if they can give us a winner here.
That's
snapper. Let go of the past.
I'm sorry, that's a snapper trip, right?
Yeah, that's the one they're doing this weekend.
Snapper, sweet. All right, let go of the past.
Great anglers have short memories. So that's one of my, I will say that is something that I believe in just in life in general. I'm a basketball fan. And so, like, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, all like the great basketball players, that's one of the things, Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, they talk about it, where one of the things you have to do as like a champion, you know, athlete is you have to have a short memory. You do not, the last game is over. Like, that's beyond, like, it doesn't matter if you won or lost. It's focus forward, move on to the next thing. And I do kind of believe this. Like, I'm not going to say that, I don't know if I would put this as the best advice, but it's not bad. Just because something worked yesterday doesn't mean it's going to work today.
Sure.
And you can't live off the fact that, you know, you had a really good day and then something's not working the next day and it's like, I don't know, somebody else's fault or you're not doing it right or whatever. Like, you have to be able to adapt. I think it kind of falls into that same lesson.
Right. Yeah, definitely the course down there, I'm sure it's totally different because maybe you need to pattern and log everything so that you know, hey, when the wind's blowing 10 miles out of the west, we need to go. If it's cloudy, we need to go catch some. Or if you've gone 3 or 4 trips in a row and not caught anything with the winds out of the north and sunny, then maybe you shouldn't fish when it's north and sunny.
Yeah, Ben, first off, you pattern and log everything. You need to write a book about that. Not even kidding. That is highly, like, I would buy that book. Your insight as far as everything. I've tried doing that. I think Ben Kovrubis, I think you do the same thing too, right? Don't you keep a log? I think we've talked about that in the past. I've tried it. I tried doing it with the YouTube videos, and I often forget to record all of the conditions for the fishing that we're doing, and I need to be doing that. And putting it in the video for, research purposes.
Right. Oh, I've said for years that I needed and want to keep a journal for fishing and hunting both, but just never have.
Yeah, that would be something. I would think that would be very valuable. And that kind of goes against the idea of having that short-term memory, but the idea is that, like, you've got a lot of variables, all this stuff that changes the fishing, water temperature and water temperature. It's going to change the conditions and what they're doing on any given day.
Right.
But if things don't pan out, what they're saying is don't waste a whole day fishing old patterns. Again, that's being flexible and willing to adapt. Like, that's exactly what we were saying with the last lesson. This is kind of, to me, the same lesson all rolled into one.
I like it.
Right? I think that's the best point, Ben. If great anglers have short memories, we'd never hear all the tales of the glory days. You will forever. Like, if not even a really great catch, but if I have a really great day, we have these stories that we tell, and I will be telling that story for the rest of my life. I'm not going to have a short-term memory about that.
Oh, yeah, I definitely have to at least remember all your favorite catches with a person, like different trips with different people, different memories.
Well, yeah, and again, also on that one, now we have YouTube. YouTube is great because it gets it. The reason I use it, like I would do this regardless of like money or views or subscribers or vanity metrics, any of that stuff. I would do YouTube just to be able to enjoy the memories of all those fishing trips. I enjoy going back. Like, I really enjoy going back, especially right now. We didn't get to go to Cozumel this year. So you can rest assured I'm going back and watching those Cozumel videos just to remember the good times that we had. Remember when Savannah was younger or whatever the case is.
Right.
The problem with YouTube, though, is that it keeps you honest. Like, it's hard as a fisherman who films YouTube videos. It's hard for me to tell you about the fish that was this big when it was really this big. I mean, you can hold it out bigger for the thumbnail, but it makes it a lot harder to do tall tales.
Definitely.
And I think that's an important aspect of fishing, is the tall tale. You got to be a good storyteller if you're a good fisherman.
I reckon.
All right, let's see what we got next year. What's the next one? Become a student, learn from every cast. This is like the exact same point as the first one. I'm not seeing anything new here. It's, again, you got to be able to adjust and learn. I'm not seeing tips here.
Yeah, not for anybody that's not an avid fisherman, basically. I guess for somebody that's fished for years, you already know these things too, so.
Yeah. And I have all the same points to say about this that I say about the other stuff. When I'm spearfishing, one of the things I'm doing is I'm studying where every single rock is on that jetty so that I know where I can jump in. I know where the fish are hiding out when I'm fishing. You know, I know where the holes are, and I know where there's a lot of times where you know, on that jetty, maybe a rock fell off and there'll be a big gap between rocks, and that creates a really nice hole that they'll hang out in. I need to know that for future reference for fishing. I try to watch, you know, when we have an aquarium, I sit there and watch what their feeding habits are. An interesting one on an aquarium thing that I did once is I had a little, I forget, the schoolmaster, I think it's called, is a type of snapper. And so I had a schoolmaster in the aquarium and I was feeding them. And it was really interesting to watch. I would put little bits of bait in there, little pieces of cut mullet or something to feed them. And as it's dropping down, everybody's going crazy about it. But as soon as that thing hits the bottom, like it would hit the bottom and land right in front of that schoolmaster, and he didn't want to have anything to do with it once it hit the bottom. And that was, you know, that was interesting to me because it's like, okay, then I need to have, if I'm fishing for snapper, seeing how his habits were, I need to keep that bait up off of the bottom. It needs to dangle in the water column a little bit, probably a little action, get them excited. You learn little things like that from studying stuff. So I do think you should be studying things. Again, I feel like we've beaten this horse to death. It's like the learning aspect. It is, yes, it's a derivative of the executive. Thank you. Well said. All right, so let's move on. Let's see what next learning thing they're going to tell us about here. Find a fishing mentor YouTube. This I actually agree with this as it being a good move because I'll agree with that. Hire a guide, go with somebody who knows what they're doing, and learn from them. That's not bad advice.
Definitely. If you can't catch a fish and other people are, you're doing something wrong. Or you're really unlucky.
Yeah. I'll accept this is this is to me their list of 5. So far they've got 2. Learn how to learn and find a mentor or take a guide, something like that to learn, and watch some YouTube videos. Pretty simple, cut and dried one there. Finally, never stop learning. Here it is, another derivative. It sounds cliche, but it's true. So there you go. I guess the way you can best become a better angler is to learn. Good job, Sports Illustrated. I hope, though, everybody watching this got some excellent information out of that. I hope you learned that you need to learn how to fish to become better. Since we said forget the past, good luck finding a mentor, they forgot. Right? So it made them good. The best way to learn is to have someone else show you. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. That's a fantastic way. Like a lot of the stuff that I have learned is from being able to be around family members who are really good at what they do, going out on charters, and we go out with guides and stuff every now and then, learning how to do these things. And yeah, I've learned a lot from that. I have been out with some charter guys too, where I saw what they were doing, and I was like, I saw what they were doing, and then I saw what other people did, and I kind of, understanding, like trying to sit there and learn, I got a feeling for like what they were doing wrong. There has been times where I've gone out on charters and like not called them out on things, but requested that they change some of the stuff. We were on a trip that I had a blast on. They did a really good job and they treated us right. But we were on a trip down in Mexico where they had a couple of baits that were just spinning while we were trolling. And I was like, man, like that's not going to work. And they swore up and down. They're like, no, it's fine. They love it. It's like, no, they don't. They're not going to fight that.
Mm.
A pop sign, but for fishing. I'm wondering, like, what do you think? ChatGPT? Is that where this came from?
Possibly.
Oh, I love that quote. Don't teach a man to fish because fishing is not that hard, and he's a grown man.
Nice. What's up, Kyler?
Hey, Kyler, how you doing, man? Is he off for summer?
He is. He actually worked, I think, 1 to 6 today. But yeah, he's done for school for the summer.
Congratulations on that, man.
First year done at the big university.
Nice. Congratulations on that, man. The charters are expensive, but I'd rather spend the money and catch more fish and learn from it than doing the same thing over and over, being inconsistent. Yeah. I'm not going to say that they're all worth their money. You will find charters that are cheap, like a guide. We've had it. My father-in-law tells stories about like one of the first times he ever came down to Padre Island, and he got a charter. He got a guide, or I guess it was a charter. Had a little John boat. Dude had more, illegal drugs than he did bait. And it was like $200 or something, or $50 or something ridiculous to go out on, for an afternoon. But that guy knew what he was doing, and he got rich into just an ice chest full of fish. And then we've had trips that cost, I've had $1,000 trips that we didn't come home with anything.
Yeah, that hurts.
Yeah.
Wanting to bring home some supper and nada.
At least a YouTube video helped me pay for it, something.
A little something. What's up, JNC?
What's up, man? How are you doing? Yeah, the more times you go fishing, the more fish you'll catch, and the more you learn, and the more you learn, the more you'll catch the next time around, hopefully.
Yeah.
So that's that. I wanted to look at that. I was holding off looking at this article because I didn't want to read it without, going through you guys. Because if I was going to get anything actionable, any kind of good advice on this, I wanted to run it through the filter of people who know what they're talking about. I think we kind of got a feeling like we'll be looking at more Sports Illustrated fishing advice here in the future. We'll also be looking at some of the other guys.
So, truck driving still.
Sorry. So does anybody have, before we're going to be getting into the photos in just a moment here, our photos of the week, just before we do that, before we wrap up shop here, does anybody have any like that bit of advice that you got that was just like that people need to know, or that absolutely did not work? One of the ones that we got, I'm kind of curious about, is the whole like the winds pushing bait up against the opposite shore. Is that one you've ever messed with or anything? That's one of the ones that I've always been curious about, and I've never experienced. I don't have any way. I can't speak towards it.
Yeah, I've tried it, but I haven't made it any assumption that it actually was true, I guess. What's up, Monica?
Hey, Monica.
It makes
the one
sense,
that
I guess,
did learn was the moon. What's that?
I mean, do you see, whenever you are spearfishing, does it make a difference when you're underwater? Do you see more fish in the direction the wind's blowing, or no? I mean, I could see it maybe blowing some stuff into the rocks or into the shoreline or something, but does the wind have that much effect on underwater?
I don't think it does. What I see with the wind is like, so normally we have these prevailing southeast winds. That's just common. But when the wind changes, when we get like that north wind or a northwest wind or something like that, when a cold front blows through, it does push everything out of the bay, and that causes the water to get muddy. And then you do have to fish different as a result of muddy water, or the currents go in a different direction. You know, it's the currents and the surf and things like that kind of makes a difference. It's not so much the wind itself, it's just what it causes the water conditions to do.
Right.
Now, I will say on that note, that's a heck of a point, because I have seen it where maybe not the wind, but the currents, you know, if they change, the fish are going to hang out on a different side of the structure based on, you know, where the currents are going. I've seen, especially down in Mexico, I've got footage of like some of the snorkeling stuff we do down in Cozumel. You'll see it where, you know, there'll be like a rock head or a sunken boat or something down underwater, and there will be massive schools, like schools of fish the size of this room, and they're all hanging out on one end of that shipwreck or one side of that rock, where you could literally be dropping baits 8 feet that direction, and you're not going to be anywhere near these fish. They're not going to want it. You'll think that you're getting skunked, and it's really just because you were fishing the wrong side of it. And I think that they're doing that because of current.
Right. That would make sense. You know, like, okay, so like the river here, the current, it's floating, you know, it's going, say, down rivers west. So on the west side of the bridges, the piers, the sand builds up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
yeah, I've seen that too.
Sandbar on the back side of stuff. So that might make the fish get in the, you know, they're out in the middle of the river, but it's shallower.
Yep.
Something like that.
We see that on the jetties here, same thing. The current will wrap around the end of the jetty, and it wallers out a big gut right next to the jetty. But then one of them in particular, Fish Pass jetty down here, is a shorter jetty, and there's a spit of sand that comes off the end of it. And it's like there'll be deep water out there, but that spit will pile up next to the jetty. There'll be a gut right next to it. And then, I mean, it'll go from being like 10 feet deep to being 6 inches deep over a span of like 3 or 4 feet. And it's hilarious watching guys go out on that jetty. You know, they want to get into deep water. They're trying to get out into big fish. So they'll walk out on that jetty, and then they will cast as far as they can, and they're casting into like 6 inches of water. And it's like I'll walk out there in knee-deep water and cast towards the jetty, and I'm casting into 10 feet of water right next to the rocks.
Yeah. Makes sense.
That's a good point. Yeah, things happen fast on the water. Prepare in advance. Absolutely. Like, that's probably the single best bit of advice we've heard all night is be ready for anything. Be safe. Yeah, people. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Let me get through the chat real quick. So we got to pile up here. Sorry, guys. So Ben's saying, yeah, don't buy lures that you think look pretty. You're absolutely right about that. Lures, like a lot of times, are meant to catch the angler, not the fish necessarily.
Right.
Back Creek saying the exact same thing. Ben also saying retire leaders sooner than you think you need to. Saw that one in 2 videos ago. I lost the fish of the day because I didn't change up my leader when I should have. So, yeah. All right, guys, thank you so much for participating on that one with me. I appreciate it. I think we're all learning a little bit, and hopefully we're helping somebody out who is joining us after the fact and watching this after it is no longer live. If that is the case, please consider subscribing and joining us. We would very much enjoy your input and having you join us when we do these live streams every Tuesday night, 6 o'clock Central Time. And right now we are going to do our photographs of the week. These are... That's not right. There it is. All right. These are our photographs of the week brought to you by the Premier Fishing and Hunting Discord server. There is a link available for that down in the description down below. Come and join us, have some fun with us, and let us, give us the opportunity to enjoy your amazing fishing trips vicariously on the days when we are not able to. Kicking things off with those guys who got outdoors. Laker Taker T4K. Beautiful spots you got there, gentlemen.
Yeah, we've got some great pictures this week. Starting off with two totally different scenes, and both of them are pretty awesome looking.
Some fresh air, man.
Mm-hmm.
Kiwi and Duck Mitri, guys, great picks. I want more of that. Daiwa, you can keep that jetty, buddy. I don't want to have anything to do with that.
Yeah, that one looks a little rough.
That looks a little crap. I don't know how many fish are left available on those rocks. He said he was having a rough day that day, too.
Big old swim bait. Ben on the doing some surf fishing, huh?
Yeah, Ben, is that in Houston? Is that in your area? Or was that a Packery? It's kind of hard to tell from here. Either way, I got to tell you, Ben, I am totally envious of your campsite setup here. We're going to see some more pictures of this in just a minute. The pictures came out gorgeous, and this is a YouTuber's dream right here. Like, this is exactly the setup I plan on going for when I am finally able to film like a night video.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Morning,
Aeon. How are you doing, man?
What's up?
Surfside. Okay, cool. I was wondering about that. I've never fished there. I need to change that. Should I try to buy a tiny soft lures for fishing at the canal near my house? Yes, you should probably try a variety of different lures just to see what's working in there. Because, I mean, the conditions, the lures that you're going to get are kind of going to depend on, the water conditions, what could be living in there. It could make a big difference. So just tiny soft lures in general, hard to say. All right, next up. Okay, so we've got this. So this is Noah. He's getting out there, and now, like, he is just on an absolute tear right now with the fishing that he's doing. So he's got himself, this is his personal best carp that he's ever had. Not to mention he got a ton of other ones. He was just slamming us with all kinds of stuff he was catching, including these guys. He's still at it, sturgeon.
Wow. Pretty cool.
That's something else, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely some dream fish. Both of those.
Yeah, same bucket list, big time.
Mm-hmm. Yep, very nice.
Noah, keep doing what you're doing on that, man. Yeah, it was a pretty one. Hey, have you got any this year? Have you been able to do any fishing this year?
Right.
I know you're busy. Yeah, I tell you what, that trout, goose with a gun, is that a tiger trout?
I don't know.
Super gorgeous.
It's pretty. Wild Japan with the boar.
Yeah. And then Dewa, he was that was another one. Dewa, man, I could not even begin to post all of the photos he had of bluefish. He was another one that was just on a complete tear.
Dang it.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. Dude, it's 2025, man. I don't know what it is. That seems to be going around. Like, everybody's having issues with something this year. We need to band together and just end this whole 2025 thing that's going on. Big hit Savage with unseasonable catch there. Normally we get like 50 or 80 pictures from him. I think we got like 16 this time around.
Wild Japan, what's going on?
Hey, there he is. What's up, man? Yeah, same here, JNC. Man, I've got a long list of people we're saying prayers for right now. I'll add you to it.
Some nice fish, guys.
Yeah, getting on it. And Michael's doing this just to rub it in. He knows that I have a hard time getting into flounder. They're down here. I just have a difficult time getting into them.
Yes.
And so he's just doing this to rub it in.
Yeah. Pretty cool. I like them. Good job, Michael.
And then just to add insult to injury, he's got to go and get some stripers and blues while he's at it.
Yep. Too cool. Gunpoint.
Another one of our moderators. I think he's probably working right now. If not, he's fishing. But yeah, he went out there and he has just been tearing it up on walleye. I think he's got a new walleye is like his new thing recently, and he's just slaying them.
They're very nice. Pretty bluegill from Fried Monkey.
Yeah. Apple Juice Fan, another one that has just been tearing it up recently. We've got a lot of picks from them. We'll be seeing a little bit more of them in a minute here. There's our boy Pickles.
Wow.
Got Saltwater 24/7 in the chat, and yeah, he's doing his thing.
Definitely wearing them out. Wearing out some big fish.
I have to admit a little jealousy on those snapper. Oh, I think snapper season is open here now. Might have to go and put you in your place. We get to keep ours.
Little shark. It's hard to tell how big the shark was, but it's like it's decent.
Yeah,
size.
I didn't get to make that big enough. But man, I swear that's a solid 8-footer though.
Cool.
Biggest snapper you had was 30.5 inches, just shy. Wow, man, they look bigger than that. I thought you had me beat.
Yeah, look huge.
Yeah. And I know Duck Mitri, his jack, what did that thing, I think he said that came in at 38 inches. I think he got me beat on the jack. I wish he had a tape on it. That would have been a server record. I would have had a hard time beating a 38. I can do it, but I'd have had a hard time with it.
Very nice. Good job, guys. Yeah. Nice catches.
Yeah, keep that coming. And here's another one. Kiwi is just driving me up a wall. I probably could have dedicated 5 pages to Kiwi. I wasn't going to do it.
Trying to keep you busy. A lot of trout. Nice crappie by Coldwater down there.
Yeah. Another one from Apple Juice. We're going to see a little bit more from Nanner here in a minute. And we got Banana Jones kind of rubbing it in a little bit with dinner.
Yes.
I think he knew what he was going to be doing to us this time of day.
I'm hungry already.
Yep.
Nice variety up here. Gunpoint again. Big head again. Flip.
Flip was another one, had a couple. Coldwater was another one that had a lot more than what I was able to show here. And that is a stud carp, Coldwater. Keep them coming with that. I can only imagine the fight you got out of that guy.
Yeah, good catches.
Truman getting out there and doing his thing, but man, the one that I'm like probably most envious of this entire week, Fish Guy Josh. Look at that load of shrimp, man.
I was gonna say, is that shrimp? Yes. Yeah.
That is a.
Yes, I'd like to go on a shrimping trip.
Yep.
A lot.
Shrimping is fun and all, But the way to do it, man, is to take a 12-pack of Bud Light out offshore to the shrimp boats and trade them.
Right. Easier way.
Let them do all the work. And they don't even like expensive beer. They want the cheap stuff.
Nice. Yeah, I like some shrimp too.
It's that time. I think shrimping season is starting too. Time to get offshore, do some offshore stuff.
Shrimping boat. Very nice. Wild Japan. Got the
doing what Wild Japan does.
You got the new life jacket on. That's pretty cool.
Have some fun with the crawdads.
Yeah, I guess that's what he said. North American crawdads are invasive over there.
Yeah. Give Noob getting out into it. And here we go with Ben. The dude, I got to say, like, that's a good catch. But just the lighting that you have on that whole thing is some of the best lighting I've seen in the photos on this server, period. I'm envious of it. It caught my attention. Yeah. And then, of course, Pickles Snook. One of, like, multiple Snook that he got. He got way more than this.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a gaff. It would help. Yeah, it would be better. But if you know how to handle them, you'll be fine. Just they have teeth. Be careful with the teeth. So yeah, a gaff would help. No, it's not absolutely necessary. Top left, that's a juvenile drum. It might be keeper size, but the juveniles have those black and white stripes on them. It's kind of like you guys have Gaspergoo, similar to that, but I think a little better eating.
Nice Pickles with some nice catches too. St. Louis,
he's proven it.
St. Louis Cardinals guy, yeah, he's been wearing them out too.
Yep. Ghost getting himself a nice little shark. Nick G also getting out there and having himself a couple of really good days on the water.
Nice catches.
Pretty stuff. Good days out on the water, man. Just all the way around. Fun days. And finally, now we need to take a look, just before we do our photos of the week, we need to take a look at the absolute monster catches of the week. The guys who are probably going home in traction. The guys who had to spend time in the gym in order to land these catches.
I was wondering where Big Hit Savage's little bass was. Oh, I didn't see Ben's there.
Yep, he had one too.
Nice. What is that dial enthusiast? Is that a little stingray?
Yeah, he's got a little stingray.
Okay.
Which they don't take lures normally. I mean, they will, but that's kind of uncommon.
Snagged it.
Yeah, probably bounced it right off of him. And now it is that time, guys. We need to find ourselves a new addition to the 2025 Wall of Fame. Your options this week are Noah with that big old carp, Michael with his, flounder, and Duck Mitri with a stud Jack Crevalle. Let us know in the chat now who you think needs to be added to the Wall of Fame. And I'm going to go, I'm going to be fair on this one. I think that poor, pitiful Mike, if somebody's going to get a flounder on the wall, that was a trip with his dad, by the way. That's him and his dad. So I think there's something to be said for that. I'll give credit where credit is due, Michael. You got some good flounder.
I'm gonna go B just to make it interesting.
I don't imagine many people are going to vote for B. Not that great.
Yeah, well, looks like we're what, 3-7? It's like B's got 3 and C's got 7. That's what I'm looking at.
I am giving him a hard time because he's always giving me crap about the flounder, but I am really envious, and that does look like a fun trip. He really tore it up out there, and the fact that he's going with his dad and getting those, I think that says something. E D.
What?
You hit the wrong letter, E. Counting up now here.
CCA Star Tournament.
Pickerel, what 4-pounder? And where did you post it? I did not see that. ED, Ed. Hey, Ben, totally understand, man. You have a good night. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us, sir. Look forward to seeing you again on Tuesday, man. Go get some fresh air. DM it to me, man, or send me a link to where you posted that. I don't know how I missed it. It does happen sometimes, though, not going to lie, and I apologize for that. Gulf Coast people, don't forget about the CCA Star Tournament. Someone this server has to win a boat and a truck. It's going to be me. Don't worry about it. You're good. I'm going to win it for you. We got about 30 seconds here. Does anybody else have any votes? E, do you want to take a moment to reconsider your decision?
A, B, or C?
I'm wondering, so we have the general photo. That's why I put a disclaimer in there today, because the general photos, I don't go through those. Those are photos for like conversation and stuff. I don't go through those to add photos on here. It would take me an extra like hour and a half to do that. So I have to go with the select like threads that do the photos for that. And if I miss it, you know, which does happen from time to time, then we'll cover it again. I'll get you on there and we'll get it added in next week. My apologies when that happens. As for this week, guys, I want to give a huge congratulations to Duck Mitri. You are our winner this week, and you are our photographer of the week. You got yourself an absolute solid stud, Jack Crevel, and we thank you for sharing that with us. Also, a huge pat on the back to our waitlisters for the week. That is Wild Japan, Laker Taker, Dewa Enthusiast, Big Hit Savage, Coldwater Species Enthusiast, Kiwi, Nanner, and Nick G. Thank you guys for all of the hard work that you made me do this afternoon. I really, really appreciate it. Before we close up shop here, guys, what can we expect to see from you this weekend? What are you going to get out there and go do? And what are your plans for this weekend, Grant?
It will not involve listening to any Lizzo songs. Not on purpose, anyways. Just trying to get the garden going, make some money selling some veggies. Hopefully get some more stuff.
I would love to see like a whole vlog on that experience.
Yeah.
Going out there, you know, like maybe some like footage, little music or whatever of like going out, putting in the work that you're doing, and then picking everything, loading up the truck, going and sitting out there. I think that'd make that like, I would have a blast watching that. No, I am going to get out there and I'm going to do something at some point here. I will be out on the island, going to do some construction with Rachel's dad. Probably spend a little bit of time doing some fishing, trying to get some fish in the freezer. This weekend is my daughter's confirmation, if we can figure out all of our paperwork. So congratulations to Savannah on that.
Yes. I guess she graduated last week.
Yeah, she is now a high schooler, and oh my God. Not ready for that one yet. But guys, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate having you here, getting to hang out with you. Hope you have an amazing and a wonderful weekend. If you do, be sure to jump into the Discord server. Let us see everything that you're doing. We would enjoy being able to hang out and, live vicariously through your experiences. Hope you have a great one. Be safe. And we will see you when we do this all over again next Tuesday, 6 o'clock. Be sure to subscribe. We'll catch you guys next time.